Hey, record loving friends, this is Brian from Tokyorecordstyle. Today I got shut out of making a video. I was trying to take you on a little adventure with me across Tokyo and show you one of my really favorite places to visit. I'll have to take you there another day, but I was really keen to record something, so I thought I would take another stab at the whack-a-mole challenge, which is where you pull some records, 5 records I think specifically, out of your collection randomly. You're meant to grab them from behind. Mine are a little precariously up there. I'm going to try to stay true to the game because I don't want to do any cheating. I'm going to pull down my my blindfold here and do it that way. I've got records over here. I've got 2 rows of records here. I've got more records around, but maybe I'll grab one from over there too. They're all over the place. Okay, so without further ado, episode 2 of Whack-A-Mole. This is a little tribute to the VC vinyl community YouTuber Norman Maslov, who I think claims that didn't actually create this concept of Whack-A-Mole, but maybe he coined the name. And so I'm gonna take another stab at this, try my best at Whack-A-Mole. So let's do this. 5 records, blindfolded. All right.
One. Oh, what is this? Let's go over here. 2. Where should I go? Let's go here. 3. And then let's go down. Let's go over here. 4. Which one should we grab? 4. And last one, way over here. Let's go all the way over here. 5.
Okay. Wow, cool. Oh man, let's have a look. Okay, I'm gonna start with the record that I know the most. Oh, these are really cool. So, first up, we've got Fish's debut record, Junta. Junta, which kind of gets confused about what exactly junta means. Junta is some political word. It's some sort of military coup d'etat, many people think. But the very first manager of the band was named something Hunter, I think. And they called him Junta as a nickname. And so on a dare, they sort of named their first record after him. And it came out on cassette originally, and it was sort of like almost like a studio demo. And it wasn't released on vinyl for many years later when they had their own label, which is Jemp, the Jemp label. This is a really cool one. This cover is by Jim Pollock. I actually know a fair amount about this. And it references some of the songs that are on the record. A really fantastic record. This is maybe a second pressing. It's a triple, I think it's 6 sides. It might be 5 sides. It might be etching on the last side. But it's peppered with Jim Pollock's illustrations. He's got this really characteristic, these funny sort of characters. And at first it sort of looks quite juvenile and childish. But the more you sort of dive into Jim Pollock's work, the more you understand that it's this pretty sophisticated, beautiful, thematic work that really has stood the test of time. I see it says here 1988 was when this record was released. The wax on it is really beautiful. I'll pull out one of the, it has the polyline sleeves and this beautiful splatter, black and white wax. Little images by Jim on the records. On the inside, we have all the lyrics to all the songs. I'll go through a few of them. This came shortly after the band was at University of Vermont, and they moved to this college called Goddard College, where they were studying under some music masters. Ernie Styles, I want to say his name is, was Trey's composing teacher who taught him about famously atonal fugues, and he was writing composed music, charting out all the instrumentation and all the melodies and all the drum parts and so on. So this album is really, actually, this album is so good. It's really, really great. I think the band would tell you that they would want to go back and re-record this. This opens with just 2 songs on the A-side, Fee and You Enjoy Myself. Now, I won't bore you by going through every single song, but You Enjoy Myself is a funny song that You Enjoy Myself has got a great story behind it. It's Fish's probably most beloved song, to be honest. It's really their magnum opus. And it has an amazing epic journey through different sections and movements. It's a really cool song, and it culminates in this crazy sort of wild, progressive, psychedelic, funny Italian vocal jam. You Enjoy Myself is the story of Trey and John Fishman, their drummer, touring in Italy, and they met some guy who, I think they were hitchhiking, and the guy picked them up, and they wanted to go to Firenze, Florence, and they have this lyric, "What you fisi drive me to Firenze?" And there's, I don't know what that is, but something, drive me from somewhere, Uffizi maybe, to Firenze. And the reason that it's called You Enjoy Myself is because this guy who didn't speak any English was saying, "When I'm with you, you enjoy myself." He kept saying to them, "When I'm with you, you enjoy myself." I think he was trying to say, "I enjoy myself," or "I enjoy being with you," but he said, "You enjoy myself," which is just a funny little inside joke that if you know, you know, and that's what we love about Fish, is that the whole 40-year discography is filled with these little funny little isms. Famously has a song called Esther. It's a story about a girl and a doll, and it's got a very circusy This one has Golgi, Foam, Dinner and a Movie. Let's go out to dinner and see a movie. You maybe know that one. Divided Sky. All of these songs are still in heavy rotation in their live repertoire. David Bowie, which I have to tell you, David Bowie is a funny song. It just has two lyrics. David Bowie and UB40. And of course, we all know UB40, the English reggae pop band. The gag there is, what does David Bowie have anything to do with UB40? Now, UB40, not to take anything away from them, but arguably, David Bowie is a more iconic, legendary musician than UB40 is. And so why are these two entangled in this song, David Bowie? After hearing this song for 20, 30 years, I untangled, I think, this little mystery about this song. Around the time when this song came out, David Bowie turned 40. So David Bowie, UB40, may be a subliminal message or a subversive message to David Bowie about his 40th birthday. Sorry, going off on the deep end there. And finally, side E includes Fluffhead, and it's the song that everybody loves to make fun of. Killer song, followed by Fluff's Travels and Contact. The tires are the things on your car that make contact with the road. Really great album. So yeah, 6 sides. This came out a number of years ago. Very happy that this got pressed on vinyl. So first up on the Whack-A-Mole Fish's debut, Junta. Next up, I mean, God, it just like, it goes up from there. Next we've got Bob Marley and the Wailers, live, the Lyceum. I want to say 1975, there we go. Oh God, I should know this show back and forth. Lyceum, I don't think is an enormous hall. You music aficionados will know this. It's famously recorded on the Rolling Stones mobile studio. And I think it was like, this was the show that like really brought reggae music to England and started UK reggae and skins and early punk. And, you know, this is why you'll find reggae influenced music throughout British rock and roll. Keith Richards is famously a big reggae head. And I think they played 2 shows. And I think the second show was like not planned. And I think he was just there. Like Bob was in that Smile Jamaica concert. He was appearing on stage with 2 political adversaries. He got shot, I think, and I don't remember the complete details of the story, but his family members insisted that he not go on stage, and he did, and he famously held up these political adversaries' hands above his head in a moment of peace and solidarity, and sent this message of civil rest and positivity to very dangerous Jamaica at the time. And then I think he basically left Jamaica for a year or 2 and moved to the UK sort of in exile, self-exile. And I think this record came together in that time. This one famously has the opening, "From Trenchtown, Jamaica, won't you welcome Bob Marley and the Wailers," and they open with Trenchtown Rock, which is just, you know, if you know this album, if there's one good thing about music, well, it makes you feel all right. So hit me with music. Hit me with music now. It's a great one. Oh, and this one I didn't know. This one's a Japanese pressing. I've had this for years, but this must be my second copy. It's Burnin' and Luton, Lively Up Yourself, No Woman, No Cry. This is the definitive version of No Woman, No Cry. The organs on this are really crazy and cool, and they're really iconic. I shot the sheriff and Get Up and Stand Up, and you can tell by the length of Bob's dreads how early it is in his career. And I'll just mention I've got a beautiful artwork of Bob Marley here on my piano, just coincidentally made by my friend Miro, who talks about this concept of blue identity, which is about non-discrimination and about freedom and nobility. And yeah, blue identity is this really cool thing. And he knew that I loved Bob Marley, so he sent this beautiful artwork to me. So please check out Miro45 Groove on Instagram. If you do not own this, this is like essential. This is an essential record to own. And if you don't own any Fish, that is a good record to start at. It's pretty out there, but it like I said, it stood the test of time, and this one certainly does. Okay, I'm sounding like a real hippie here. This is kind of fun because next up is Garcia. I think this is his first solo record. Wow, I don't really know these songs that well. None of them are jumping out at me. When the hunter gets captured by the game, he ain't give you none. That's what love will make you do. What goes around, let it rock. Russian lullaby. This is the one that's standing out. Let's spend the night together. Mississippi Moon, Turn on the Bright Lights, Midnight Town, produced by John Kahn, who was in the band. Bass player? But what a killer cover. I have to put this on as soon as I get off this top 5. This needs a re-listen. I haven't listened to this since high school. This is from 1974. It can't be his first solo, but maybe it is. On Round Records. Cool little white label there. So I think I have like Run for the Roses. That's the one I'm sort of most familiar with. And then a bunch of Jerry Band like live records. I was a big fan of Jerry Band. I kind of dug the Jerry Band recordings almost more than the Dead. I mean, the Dead were so special, but Jerry Band is really, really good. And you know, when he played with Merle Saunders, those tunes were so groovy, and you could just tell he was like really happy to be playing in his own band. You know, anytime David Grisman would come out with Jerry, those were good shows. Dog and Grateful Dog, that's what it was. And then there's the Pizza Tapes, which are famously really good, and Shady Grove is awesome. And there was a really fun record called like, what is it called? It's like there's a kid's record. I can't recall it. It's a children's record, I think, with Jerry and Dave, and it's really fun. Listen, it's got a bunch of killer sort of in harmony-ish sort of Carly Simon, James Taylor sort of vibe songs. It's a really good record. Check that one out. Anyway, I'm going to check this one out. Love the artwork on this. Really fun, beautiful, psychedelic, beardless Jerry with his cool specs and one of his custom-made guitars. Oh, I wish I could remember who that guy was. Okay, moving along here. Okay, next up. This is a good one. I kind of need to go back and revisit this one. I haven't heard this one in a while either. You Are What You Is by Frank Zappa. This is like a probably late 70s, early 80s. 81, it says. 81 Zappa. It's not really my favorite era of Zappa, but it's a good era of Zappa. I was a crazy hardcore Zappa head for a lot of years. I collected so much Zappa that it's kind of hard to keep straight in my head. I have probably, I don't know, close to 50 or 60 Zappa records, starting with Freak Out, We're Only in It for the Money, Hot Rats, Chungas, all those early records. Then like Reuben and the Jets and Waka Jawaka and Overnight Sensation and Apostrophe and the Fillmore records, and you know, all the way up to like Joe's Garage. And after you get through those 40 records, you start getting into like the Yellow Shark and Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch, You Are What You Is, and the You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore series, which I also really like. And this is probably like, that's when they got into like guitar. guitar virtuoso. The early records have tons and tons of guitar virtuoso, but this is where he had like getting close to the time when he had a really amazing band. Steve Vai famously joined Zappa's band by playing all his songs in double time. This also has Ike Willis, Ray White. These were the incredible voices that were on Joe's Garage. And I don't know everybody on here. Tommy Mars, Arthur Barlow, Ed Band, David Ocker, Motorhead Sherwood on tenor sax. Motorhead Sherwood, that sounds familiar. And Jimmy Carl Black, who was in the Mothers, and Ahmet, that's his son, I think, and Moon, guest vocalists. Okay, so Moon and Ahmet are on here. So that means that they must have been, you know, She's a Valley Girl age-ish. And the songs on here, let's see if we know any of them. Teenage When, I mean, some of the songs on Zappa's records, like they ended up on multiple albums. That Zappa recorded everything, apparently, and songs got reworked and turned up on other albums, and there may be some songs on here that I know from other albums. Drafted Again, I'm looking at here. I don't want to get drafted. There's Drafted Again on here. If Only She Woulda, I can't remember these songs. Jumbo Go Away, Heavenly Bank Account, Suicide Chump, they're funny names. Dumb All Over, The Meek Shall Inherit Nothing, Mud Club. I don't know what the whole infatuation with Mud was. You Are What You Is open side 3. Society Pages. Oh, that reminds me of Something People. I love that tune. I'm trying to think of it. I'm a Beautiful Guy, Beauty Knows No Pain, Charlie's Enormous Mouth, Conehead, Teenage When, Harder Than Your Husband. I mean, Doreen sounds familiar. God, it's like I need to go back and listen to this. Theme from the third movement of Sinister Footwear. And a really killer picture of Zappa. Like he gets good nose, you know, good mustache, good chin. I actually saw a picture of Zappa the other day and said, like, I was gonna like save it and take it to the barber, be like, can you give me a haircut and like make it kind of look like this? Cause yeah, oh yeah, this is like 80s Zappa. This is the worst. What is he doing wearing this like velour? It's not even, it's like terry cloth. He's wearing a terry cloth like bathrobe. It's not even a jacket. It's like a bathrobe and an awful yellow t-shirt, but he still does look pretty good. Say Cheese, who's this written by? Oh God, there's a whole essay. I need to go and read this. Let's see. This article was originally prepared for publication in Newsweek magazine. So yeah, he was kind of a famous essayist. He was, you know, had a lot to say. After it was sent to them, they rejected it, saying it was too idiosyncratic. Since we needed something to fill up the side of this album cover, this article now meet its destiny as decorative filler material. And he says here, say cheese, and then he highlights all the places in yellow where it mentions cheese. Cheese, cheese, cheese. Stress cheese, cheese. Committee cheese. Union cheese artifact. Account cheese. The cheese to believe in. And Prime Rate Poodle, written by FZ, April 1st, 1981. Gosh, You Are What You Is. I remember, I think I bought it on CD first, and I probably found this at a record store not that long ago and thought, oh my God, I can own it on vinyl. And this is the record that I'm a little embarrassed that I don't really know more about, because I would like to know about it. And I think of it constantly as a record that I want to listen to again. I think I've only listened to this record one time, and I think it was sort of, you will know it. If you're of a certain generation, you will know it. This was the record that was a definitive comedy record that you needed to own in the 60s. This is The Sick Humor of Lenny Bruce. And Lenny Bruce is, you know, a famous comic, stand-up, one of the earliest version of what we know now as a stand-up comic. And I think he was very off-color and a very acquired taste, a little bit of George Carlin, Andy Kaufman to a degree, Ricky Gervais, Louis C.K., probably Seinfeld, Larry David, and so on. Probably everybody took from Lenny Bruce. How about I read just a little bit from The Sick Humor of Lenny Bruce here on the back from, I'm gonna guess, early 60s, maybe even 50 something on Fantasy Records. Ooh, I didn't remember it was on red wax. We are living in a culture of conformity. The sociologists keep telling us that they pore over statistics that indicate college students are conservative this year. That may be, but sometimes it seems as if the sociologists miss a few points, such as Bob and Ray, jazz musicians, and the well-honed wit that is bringing the comedy of dissent these nights to various clubs in the person of Lenny Bruce. So, very sorry, Lenny Bruce, that I don't know your material back and forth. I know I meant to. You are probably in so many of the comedians that I know and love. I'm a giant comedy fan. I actually reached around the comedy thinking I would pull out something Monty Python, something I knew maybe a little bit more familiar, but I'm glad that I got Lenny Bruce. It's a good excuse to listen to this record again. Here he is having his picnic in the cemetery, which probably in 1962 or whenever this was made, 59 maybe even, it was probably like pretty out there, a little bit offensive. Okay, well that's my whack-a-mole. Rambled there for a little bit, but Fish, Marley, Garcia, that's a triple whammy, followed by Zappa and Lenny Bruce. Okay, so you're getting to know my taste in records a little bit. I think that's actually not a bad reflection of the kinds of things that I like to listen to. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you did like that, I'd ask you to give me a like, a share, leave a comment down below, and also encourage you to try whack-a-mole yourself. It's a really great excuse to check out your records and maybe revisit some that you haven't listened to in a while. I'm really glad to have brought out some records that I haven't heard in a little while, and it'll be fun to give these a re-listen. I would also encourage you to check out my project tokyorecordstyle on Instagram, or visit my website at tokyo.record.style. It's a photography project where we document people with their recently scored record purchases, where they're carrying around record store bags. I spot them on the streets of Tokyo, stop them, ask them what they bought, tell them I'm a record collector myself, ask them if I can make a photo of them, and then go back, catalog their records, and write short stories about them. It's a really fun way to discover new music. I'm calling it the human algorithm and not the, Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon algorithm. This is the human algorithm. You can hear what people are listening to on the streets. So thank you for indulging me in another edition of Tokyo Record Style on YouTube. I hope to connect with you out there on the interwebs, check out your contents, and connect with you about music soon. So until next time, I'll see you at the record store. Bye.